Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy VI. Last time, Terra and Locke here traveled to Thamasa with Shadow in tow, and discovered some people, like Strago and Realm here, who are descendants of the Magi, humans who are able to wield the power of magic. And we have enlisted in Strago's help here, specifically, to help try and track down the Espers. Don't get the wrong idea. I just wanted my dog back. You're leaving? I'll search for the Espers on my own way. Interceptor. Today's not working well for Realm, I guess. Well, I guess, Shadow was with us. Well, that kind of botched my intro a little bit there, but anyways, we have our own mission to go through, and that is to use Strago as a guide to help us navigate the Esper Cave. But let's go ahead and talk about Strago for a little bit, as we got to use him briefly in the previous episode, but we didn't really get to talk about him all that much. Strago primarily uses rods as his main weapon of choice. Rods generally, except for the Mythril Rod, generally will have a chance of casting certain magic types whenever they are used as physical weapons. For example, the Ice Rod here is a rod that may cast Blizzara upon striking an enemy. Casts Blizzara when used as an item and then will break. So you have a few options here when it comes to the rods. The Mythril Rod itself is just a magic boosting item, which is going to be the weapon I use on Strago the most. In terms of relics, I'm going to have the Hermes Sandals on him, as Strago is a fairly slow individual. In fact, the slowest individual out of all of the party members. And also an earring to boost his magic attack. Everything else is pretty standard stuff. In terms of Espers, we're going to be giving him Zona Seeker, as he's really close to leveling up, and we want to get his magic up as much as possible. Strago is a character that, honestly, and while I'll get into this a little bit more in detail in a second, he's a character that definitely lacks a few more options when it comes to how to build him as a character. He's definitely someone that you want to create as a full-on magic user, rather than potentially thinking about diversifying him a little bit. Strago also has a unique gimmick, the ability to learn abilities from monsters. This is a bit different from Gao's Rages, as he can learn unique spells from these enemies, similar to Rage, but he will not be locked into a specific stance, and his attributes will not be changed when he uses the magic. There's really not much for us there in Thamasa, but there is actually quite a bit out here in the Crescent Moon Island. Originally, I had flown here just to check out Thamasa a few episodes ago, but I didn't actually walk around and fight some of the enemies here. However, there are new enemies in the bestiary that we need to grab here, and while I do that, I want to go ahead and dive into Strago and his abilities a little bit more in depth. Strago is an interesting old fella, as he's capable of casting magic that no one else can, while also being incapable of learning normal magic when leveling up. It's weird, but not that big of a deal. Anyways, let's talk about his stats real quick. Strago has a decent stat spread, with magic being a standout positive, but the others leave something to be desired. A slow, but decently tanky magic caster isn't a bad thing initially, but it does mean that you should either dedicate gear and relics to bringing him up to speed with the others, pun not intended, but now it is, or maybe even using some of his Magicite bonuses to boost him a bit. In terms of gear, Strago's weapon of choice is the Rod. Rods normally have unique effects tied to them, but they aren't generally used for direct combat, meaning that Strago is going to need to fall back on magic more often than any other character that we've seen so far. His armor options, on the other hand, are wonderful, as he can equip the Suit Armor type, which grant a multitude of stat buffs and extra effects like poison immunity. General rule of thumb with the old man here is to keep him in the back row and cast magic all day long. Moving on to Strago's Magicite growth, As you've probably guessed, magic is going to be the main focus for him, as he is going to want to be casting spells as often as possible. However, raising his speed even just a tiny bit will work wonders in giving Strago a good chance at moving before the enemy can rip into him. And thanks to Strago's simple game plan, giving him relics is also quite easy, as he will want anything that can help him raise his magical prowess or boost his speed in combat, so earrings and Hermes sandals should probably be the first on your list to nab for him. Lastly, we have Strago's special ability, Lore. This ability allows Strago to learn a variety of unique spells from the enemies he encounters in battle, ranging from simple attack spells, level-based magic and ailments, to powerful defensive spells that aid the entire party. In order for Strago to learn lore magic, he needs to participate in a battle with the enemy who uses the lore spell you are trying to learn. Strago must be alive and not under the effect of any ailment when the spell is cast. Then, once combat concludes, Strago will have learned the lore for himself. Even if Strago is KO'd when combat concludes, as long as he was perfectly fine when the spell went off, he will learn it. Now, Strago's lore magic is different from something like Gao's Rages, as lore magic works just like standard magic would, requiring MP and can be cast at any point without any kind of catch. Because the lore magic is tied to fighting enemies, there are cases where obtaining certain spells requires an extra trick or strategy in order to obtain, like confusing the enemy, or just having Strago present for certain story objectives at the right time. The viability of lore magic tends to vary from not very useful to incredibly valuable, so if you just wish to look through a list of all of the possible lore abilities Strago can learn, and where to find them, if you intend to just pick and choose which ones to grab and what not to, I will leave a link to a page where you can find all of the spells in the description of this video. I personally really enjoy Strago and the Blue Mage archetype in general, and thankfully he is fairly straightforward to build and play with, but he does require a decent amount of commitment to take advantage of what makes him unique from all of the other powerful magic casters like Terra, Celeste, and even his own granddaughter, who we'll get to at a later date. Don't sleep on this old man's potential. You might find yourself pleasantly surprised. Alrighty, there we go. We know Strago just a little bit better, and honestly, despite my minor grievances with him, he's a personal favorite character of mine, and I'll be trying to do him as much justice as I personally can. In terms of magic, I've already taught him Rasp and Osmose, which is going to be a big one, as he's going to be a pure magic user, so teaching him the means of keeping his MP high without using ethers is going to be a big priority for me. Also, teaching him Fyra, Blizzard, and Thundara is going to be a big one as well, just to give him options outside of just Aqua Breath for the time being. I also found a piece of gear called the Gaia Gear that you can steal from the a few enemies from this area. We can also steal it from enemies in the dungeon we're about to go into. But the Gaia Gear is pretty useful. Not only does it give you quite a bit of defense, but also it will absorb all earth damage, which can be quite useful against enemies who want to use spells like Quake or Stone. But without further ado, let's go ahead and head inside. We're going to go ahead and turn on encounters within the Esper Cave. This is a fairly decently sized dungeon, so we're going to be trying to navigate it as quickly as possible. We have the Healing Rod right there, which has a huge attack stat, plus 200, and it is a rod that will restore HP to whoever it taps. It will heal whenever you attack any target, so be mindful if you have that equipped on any character who can use rods. We're going to go ahead and try to set up a auto battle here. Let's do Fyra. I don't know. Let's see. We haven't used Fyra in a bit, I think. We'll go ahead and use attack, and then Strago will be doing Aqua Breath, which is a very powerful attack. Unfortunately, enemies here have, especially the Adamant Carry here. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They have high physical defense, so we'll need to be careful with a lock there. He'll probably still be a standard attacker, maybe a stealer if we need that, but for right now, we're just going to kind of auto-battle and see what happens. I think we just went in circles. We get into a fight here. Back attack, 5 enemies. They do pretty decent damage, but then again, Terra and Strago are currently locked to the front row. Decent physical damage from the rod there. We're going to go ahead and put Lock on healing duty. And then we'll just have the auto battle continue with the R2 main damage dealers. Do Fira, Aqua Breath. Aqua Breath is actually a pretty strong ability for this point in the game. It's a bit stronger than any of the other Aura spells, so Strago is going to be pulling his weight here. Let's go ahead and switch Terra's Esper over to Zona Seeker, as he's really close to a level up. Same with Locke. Well, he's already at Bismarck, so he'll be good. Let's go ahead and set Locke to the back row. I'll just set him as the de facto healer. Kind of went in a circle here, so let's go... Oh, hello! Seems like we have a follower. We'll keep an eye out for her. Anyway, we'll put Locke as the de facto healer. We have a new enemy here, the Venu. Locke, you can be the team healer, and we'll just auto-battle the rest of this. There is a few enemies that we need to be mindful of fighting here if we want to complete our bestiary. I think this is going to be the third of 5 enemies. Let's go ahead and use Thunder. Both water and fire attacks don't seem to be nearly as effective here. I guess we could try out Stone as well if these guys still don't die. Nope, they died. There we go, level up for Terra, giving her +2 magic. I've been kind of slacking on the magic bonuses for Terra. I've just been kind of confident in her current magic stat, but I wouldn't mind an extra boost here and there. We have a big room right here with a lot of different entrances and exits. Let's go ahead and take the rightmost... Oh, hello. After her! Seems like someone is not very obedient. Is there anything else we could go and check out first? I don't think so. Alright, well, let's head down here. Oh, interesting. Statues. Are these statues of the Warring Triad? The Warring Triad? There's writing chiseled into these things. So, what's this Warring Triad? They're the legendary gods who created the power we know as magic. So, they're the gods of magic. You could say that. This place is brimming with magic. Those 3 gods are the creators of magic, meaning they also created the Espers. It's said that the Espers once enshrined images of the gods in a holy place. This must be it. The Espers must have been drawn here by the magic of these statues. So, what happened to the gods after they made the Espers? Supposedly, they tired of fighting and turned themselves to stone. Legend has it they could be found beyond the sealed gate, resting in their eternal slumber. I wonder if their magic is what connects the gate to the Esper world. If the Espers were drawn here by these statues, they could be just up ahead. It's worth a look. Get to interact with these things. Realizing their power begot naught but strife, the gods at last agreed to seal away their strength. With the last of their fading magic, the gods returned to the Esper's free will, then turned themselves to stone. The last words they left to the Espers were these: never must we be woken. In reverence towards the gods were these statues made, and in prayer that their power would ne'er be again stirred. Let them serve as a warning to future generations of the 3 gods who once descended from the heavens. The dawn of magic. 3 gods descended from the heavens. Fearing one another's power, the gods began to war. Those mortals, caught amongst their fighting, became Espers, and were forced to fight endlessly as slaves to the gods. I kinda read that backwards, but we get the gist. These shiny golden statues are all mine. Now I'll finally be able to get some respect from Siegfried. Ooh, they're all glowy and sparkly. So pretty. Hey, Squid Brain, don't you ever learn? Well, Mama always said I was a slow learner, but at least I never give up. And yes, we're up against Ultros for a 3rd time. Thought you wouldn't see me again. I've got more lives than I do arms. You ain't out of my grasp just yet. Yep, so we're dealing with Ultros again, and he's slowly moving towards us. We got Tentacled right there. Don't like that. We're gonna try and High Potion Terra. Unfortunately, Strago is not really in the best situation to be dealing with Ultros, so we're gonna go ahead and just try to deal with him with Terra solo. And I guess we can try out Stone, why not? We've got a few other abilities here. We can also see if we can cast a few fire spells. Let's go ahead and try to slow down Ultros here. Ink is not really going to be that big of a deal, thankfully. Their Stone does decent damage. We can rely on that, I think. Cast Slow. See if we can just keep Ultros from attacking us. That did quite a bit of damage. Made him back up, too. Kind of got a little bit of PTSD from the Opera House Ultros fight. That did not go the way I was intended it to go. But hopefully we can deal with this just perfectly okay. Got him slowed down. Need to have Locke do something else. Maybe we can set him as the healer again. Go ahead and do that. Stone and Fyra is going to be doing pretty good. Unfortunately, Stone does have a chance of missing, which is not great. There's Hailstone, which does a lot of damage. We're going to go ahead and put Strago on the defense here so he doesn't take any more damage from a potential tentacle attack. Fyra. If you didn't use Trance in the fight against the Flame Eater, you can also use it here. It's a pretty useful situation for it. Oh, he's glowing red. Ultros alters his body composition. Use elemental attacks at your own risk. Oh dear. Well, Terra, see what happens here, huh? There's Fyra. We'll go ahead and have Strago continue to defend. Grandpa, I followed you here. Realm! I thought I told you to stay home! I wanted to practice my drawing. I am a budding virtuoso, after all. Hey there, what's your name? How dare you ask me my name, as if anyone wouldn't already know the great Ultros. A pint-sized virtuoso, and an egotistical octopus. Do I even want to know what's next? Hey, Ulti, why don't you pose so I can draw your picture? Ulti? The nerve of this brat! Look, I'm not one of your kitty friends, and I don't want a stinking portrait. Forget it, then. I don't want to draw your picture anyway. It's okay. I'll just jump off this ledge, then everyone will be happy. Whoa, whoa, whoa! No, Realm, don't jump! How dare you tease a little girl like that? If anything happens to her, I'm not going to forgive you. I didn't mean... Well, jeez. What do you want me to do? Let her draw your picture. Maybe she'll even make you look good. I'm not cut out for this sort of thing. Oh, all right. Uncle Ulti really, really wants you to draw his picture. You're gonna love it. Enough chatter. Realm, get over here. So, we get access to Realm in our party while Ultros is preparing, casting Haste and Protect, buffing himself up. I know what you're thinking. Man, that was cheap. Sorry, so sorry. Well, let's go ahead and just sketch him anyways. Tentacle. How can this be? I'm just a... washed up old octopus? And by seeing himself in the mirror, thanks to a self-portrait, he flees in shame. Hey, did you see me? Wasn't I great? I'd be way more useful than Gramps. Gramps? It wouldn't hurt to bring her along, would it? Oh, alright already. Not like you can stay at home when you're told anyway. Yay! I mean, in terms of being better than Strago, you're not off the mark here. Realm surprisingly has amazing base stats. Look at that magic stat. Without any gear really boosting her, she's at 46 magic, which is not far off Terra. Like, wow, very strong. Unfortunately, she still doesn't come with any unique magic, and Sketch is an interesting ability that I won't go into detail right now. So we're gonna have to try and give her something. We'll go ahead and give her a Catobal Pass. She's not in any way close to leveling up, so we won't need to worry about that right now. But anyways, let's go ahead and move onwards. We'll talk about Sketch a little bit more in detail later down the road. I guess this is a good time to use a tent. Patch ourselves up. But with that, with our encounter with Ultros and Realm now officially joining our party, I think this is a pretty decent place to stop. We still have a little bit of the Esper Cave to explore, and I want to go ahead and not try to fill all of this into one episode. So, next time on Final Fantasy VI, we'll explore the remaining segment of the Esper Cave and see if we can figure out where exactly they all are. So, with that said, I'll see you soon.